Ashton and I are back.
It's been 2 seconds.
We're now going to review Cobra Kai Episode 2, Strike First. The Karate Kid saga continues.
I wanted to say that.
I'm
Screw
sorry.
you.
I'm sorry.
No! Sorry doesn't fix things.
I wasn't.
That's another part of my
attention.
pussy generation.
That's right. Your pussy generation. Bad influence. We are hardly
I'm an
into
innocent
the.
child.
We're not even 5 minutes into the episode. We have to pause and talk about this.
It just goes into the whole other discussion we had in the intro.
So, okay, so the episode 2 opens up with scenes from.
This.
Okay, go.
Okay, so how about this? Like, I'll open up. So like you get to do episode 1, and then I'll talk about like the events in episode 2. And then you
That's good. Okay, you.
Did I do something good?
Yeah, that.
Nice.
So okay, do the walkthrough.
Okay, so we start off with talking about. Okay, so we start off at the camera's at Daniel's house and stuff. We see his life. We see that he's a happy family man. That he was a good father. He's a good husband. He has a successful career. He's popular amongst his peers and stuff. And he's happy with his life and himself. And when he's driving home, I think it is, he sees the dojo, the Cobra Kai dojo, and he gets flashbacks of Johnny beating him up on the beach, and him doing illegal hits in the tournament and stuff. And then it just skips to John, and then it does the whole opening stuff and whatever, the title, and then it goes to Johnny and McGill, and he's just giving him basic rules, you call me sensei, you strike first, and basic stuff like that, you've seen on the first Karate Kid movie. And then McGill, he punches McGill in the chest, I think it is, and McGill stands up and he's hurt, and he has his inhaler, and he takes a few puffs. Can you shut up? And Johnny's what the hell are you doing? And he's you punched me. I had asthma, sensei. So he takes the inhaler, he throws it against the wall, and he's asthma? No, when you're in this dojo, you leave your asthma, your peanut allergies, and all that other made-up bullshit at home and stuff. And he's there is no, I have no patience for that. That's bullshit. If you're gonna be a part of my dojo, you're gonna be strong. And then McGill, fights back, and he's what does he say? He's those are real medical issues. What does Johnny say?
Johnny gets down this road where he's saying something you need to be strong, you gotta have balls,
Yeah, he's you can't be you can't be a pussy. You need to have balls, and you need to man up. And then McGill says, he's isn't that a lot of gendering? And Johnny's confused, and he's what the hell are you talking about? And he's aren't you gendering this? Aren't you genderizing this? And he's what does that mean? And he's well, my guidance counselor, bad. My guidance counselor
tells that.
No, he can't. And he's telling him about how his guidance counselor is saying that genderizing things and using key word specific words can emotionally hurt a person, and then it goes, and then that ties in with the whole pussy generation that we had a discussion about in the intro for this episode, is how things are genderized. So me being trans FTM, it'd be I wouldn't want someone to use female things on me. And then that kind of just ties in with what Ryan says, we're so sensitive and stuff.
Yeah, you guys, it's pretty classic for somebody in my generation in that situation to be no, you got to tough it up. you know, grow some balls.
Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're being, like, ignorant about it, then obviously I'm gonna get pissed off, and I'm like, you know what, no, screw you.
Well, there's people now, like, from your generation, where all you gotta do is say a word, and it doesn't matter the context even.
No, all you have to do is say a word and Ryan cracks up.
It's like when, you know, when you say bomb in an airport. They don't take the context of the conversation into anything. If you say the word bomb, that's a trigger word for the security at the airport.
I guess if you're, like, grouping together everyone, then it would, like, make up, like, a majority of my generation that would act like that. But, like, what bothers me is that you're grouping together everyone. Like, you're not just saying, like, specific people, you're saying everyone, and that bothers me, because it's, like, I'm not like that. Like, yeah, there are some things that do piss me off when it comes to, like, genderizing things and, like, you know, like, saying shit like that. So, like, the whole, like, there's this thing where, like, that I always see where it's like, oh, get, like, the pink Kinder Surprise, because those are, like, the girls that, like, that those things, like, bother me and stuff. But then it's, like, that bothers me, because, like, why do you need to genderize chocolate? Like, that's retarded. Or, sorry, that's dumb. You can edit that out. Like, that's dumb. But then, if it's like, Ryan just used the analogy, like, saying bomb in an airport and everything is, like, crazy and stuff, those are only some people. So, like, there are some people that I know, even, like, kids that are my age, where, like, you say she, and then they, like, get mad and they're like, oh, did you just assume my gender? Like, yeah, that bothers me, because it's like, you could be respectful and stuff and not, like, get so worked up and just be like, these are my correct pronouns. Like, that is fine. But if you're like, oh, did you just assume my gender? And, like, shit like that, then it's like, you're going way too far with that.
But what if you're, like, there's also people who, like, their correct pronouns are stuff that is just made up.
Yes, okay, so the pronouns that I think are, like, wonky are, like, it/itself, z, them, and, like, psi, c, or whatever the hell it is. But, like, if it's he, they, for, like, female and male, then it, transgender people, like me, then it's like, oh yeah, like, you're a he, you're a him. Or, like, same with, like reverse, like, if you're male to female, like, she, those are your correct pronouns. But those are, like, actual pronouns. Or, like, they, them. You don't want to be gendered, and that's, like, completely valid, you're fine. But then if you're using something like z, them, or it itself, you're not something made up, and it/itself, you're not an object, you're a person. So you use, like,
you're
person
not plural
terms.
either, so they and them doesn't work.
Yes, it does.
Grammatically, no.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Them, you'd be speaking about more than one person. They, you'd be speaking about more than one person in the English language, you know.
Yeah, well, the English I'm pretty sure everyone can agree that the English language is really messed up.
Yeah, it's a pretty weird language and stuff, but
Slim to none, fat chance, like, it means the same thing, but it's like two opposite things. That's my analogy for right now.
I don't know, but in any case, yeah, we're getting into some of this difference between the generations right away in this episode. So we're gonna trudge on. Not too much more.
Okay, so where we left off was with McGill being like, isn't it bad to be genderizing shit and whatever. So after that, a guy came in and he was like, oh, hey, like, your dojo, like, it needs to have like a checkup for, like, safety.
Yeah, some,
and, like,
health inspector.
Yeah,
thing.
and so Johnny's dealing with that, and then it goes to Daniel with his wife and his son, and it's talking about how
there's some kind of party.
Yeah, there's this summer event party thing at their country club that they go to, and you get to meet Daniel's son, like, officially, because, like, you do see him, like, the beginning of episode 2, but it's, like, a short, like, clip of him just, like, smiling at Daniel and stuff.
We have to talk about Daniel's son.
That's what I'm talking about right now.
Alright.
Okay, so... okay, so it goes to Daniel and his son sitting at a table. And Daniel's son sitting there on his iPad playing, like, this gun game, whatever. And he's like, come on, Link, let's...
He's a fat turd to begin with. Alright?
Okay, but
He's round. He's round.
Oh my god, and he has, like, total, like, 60s mom hair. And he's like... Daniel comes over and he's like, hey, like, why don't you go see, like, the magician? He's, like, doing some pretty cool tricks. Like, he's trying to, like, hype his kid up so, like, he'll go play and, like, get off his iPad and stuff. But his kid's like, no, like, I'm on level 10, like, let me do this. And he's like, okay, well, let's go get a soda or something. And he's, like, suggesting things to do with him. And he's like, yeah, I am pretty thirsty. And he's like, great, there's a bar over there. We can go get something to drink. And he's like, yeah, no thanks. And he's like, why? And he looks at him, or he doesn't look at him, but he's, like, looking at his iPad the whole time he's talking to Daniel, and he's like, it's too far, or something like that.
Yeah, his kid is just a lump of shit.
Really, like we talked about earlier, that I'm a sympathetic person, and I hate saying things about that, especially about, like, children and stuff, and it's like...
Not only that, but, like, we haven't seen it yet, but in, like, 2 seconds, you know, because Daniel's...
Dad, I'm waiting for my soda!
Now he's over here talking to his wife, and they're, like, having a private discussion, and his kid's yelling, you know, where's my soda? I'm waiting for my soda. Yeah,
like, Daniel, like, gives up, and he's like, oh, whatever. So then he goes over to his wife, they're talking, and they, you know, like, they get their margaritas, they're having a good time. And then he talks to, like, one of his friends that's, like, the father of, like, another important character later, like, in, like, more episodes later on.
Yeah, and you meet that character for the first time.
Yeah. And he's, like, friends with his daughter, Samantha, and... she's just asking, like, oh, where's Samantha? Like, I haven't seen her. And Samantha, like we said about episode 1, since she was, like, with those popular, pretty prissy girls in the hit-and-run incident, those are, like, the same people she's hanging out with during the party. And the mom lies to her friend and says, oh, she's with her grandma. And Daniel's like, yeah, sure, she's with her grandma. She barely calls her, much less hangs out with her and stuff. And he's talking about how she doesn't, like, really need to be with her friends and stuff because she's with them every day. And they're having, like, their own private discussion about it, you know, just enjoying the day, you know, any normal, I guess, parents. And then the kid yells from the table, he's like, Dad, where's my soda? And
this kid is just set up so unlikable.
Yes, like, he's, like... such the opposite of Daniel. Like, even Daniel said that. He's like, you know, he, like, comes up to his wife and he's like, you know, I would have killed to get into a country club like this when I was younger. You know what I did on a hot summer day was playing a dirty New York street with a broken fire hydrant beside my Aunt Tessie's house. And, like, I really like that he still, like, thinks about that and that he's not, like, materialistic like most people, like, who are rich and, like, are, like, exclusive people at country clubs and stuff like that. And he just thinks it's so shitty of his kid to act the way he does. And, like, his kid is just the total opposite of Daniel. And I think that's the only thing. The thing I really dislike about the series is his family. Because his family is, like, so much different than what you would expect it to be. Because, like, you know, you start out, like, with the movie and you see how him and his, like, how Daniel and his mom are, like, pushing the car to get out of the motel and stuff. And how, like, he was concerned about his parents, or concerned about his mom, and, like, how he was, like, always kind and, like, getting out and, like, doing stuff. And then his kids are just like his wife is materialistic in a way, and
yeah,
you know,
she doesn't look like she fits in with him. Like,
she, like,
philosophically or something.
Like she seems like the character that grew up rich, like Allie.
Yeah.
But like she is also very different from Allie.
But I think it's important that his kids are assholes because what we're doing in this series too is we're exploring your generation and a new set of characters, and the ones that you would think would be level-headed, like Daniel's kids, are actually, you know, messed up, and the ones that you think that would be messed up, like some other characters' kids that we haven't gotten to yet, turn out to be pretty good, decent peoples. So I don't know. There's some messaging in there too, but with kids that have had hardship and stuff, might be a little bit better persons than kids that have had it too easy.
Yeah, because, like, what I think about is the scene where they are pushing the car from the motel, and you see Daniel in his 80s hair and his, like, jersey and his mom jeans and stuff, and, like, he's pushing a car with his mom and stuff, and I love that. And then, like, you skip, like, all these years later, and you see his son sitting there, slouched over on the chair, on his iPad, playing his whatever game with his, like, 50s, 60s mom hair and stuff. It's awful, and he's like in flannel and stuff, and I hate it.
Yeah, it's bad, but yeah, both of us, everybody who watches this show is going to hate that kid. He's just hateable. But he's a symbol for part of the syndrome that's associated with the younger generation. We will trudge on.
Oh, yeah. So, where did we leave off of? Oh, yeah, his wife. Okay, so.
Yeah, we finished the episode 2, hey?
Yeah. It's just like the Cobra Kai logo thing.
We almost ended up pausing again. You remember why?
Yes. Okay, so. Where we left off was Daniel was talking to his wife and stuff. And at the country club, I'm blanking on things. And then they go home, and, like, Daniel and his wife find out that Samantha, his daughter, is having a pool party, and she hadn't asked either of them, and Daniel's upset with her. So he kicks all her friends out, then his wife pulls him to the kitchen. And so they're talking, and this is the part we were going to pause at, but we decided not to let the camera charge. And she's like, you know, you don't need to be so harsh. Like, Sam has new friends, she wants to be popular, and Daniel's like, yeah, that's fine, but, like, why can't she, like, still, like, go to, like, robot camp with Aisha, the girl, who's another important character, and that's Samantha's friend. And the wife says, because she doesn't want to be a nerd.
Aisha's been Sam's friend since they were little kids.
Yeah, like elementary school and stuff, like kindergarten, I think. And she was like saying, like, Daniel said, like, I don't want her to grow up and be like one of these, I don't want her to, like, be one of these prissy girls you see in high school and stuff. And the wife was like, I don't want to see that happen either. But, like, the wife is totally that girl.
Prissy, yeah.
She is prissy. She called Aisha a nerd, and Aisha is, like, a really smart, nice, like, dorky kind of girl in the series and stuff, and she's likable. And, like, yeah, she can be a nerd sometimes, but, like, for her mom to say that about a girl that she's known since, like, she was little, that was, like, really...
Her mom is sticking up for Sam's decision to want to be the cool girl instead of, like...
the nice girl.
Being the nice girl, you know, just, like, ditching her. She knew her, like, lifetime friend would be at this party.
Yeah.
And she skipped that. Because she's bad. Because both of Daniel's kids are bad.
Like, maybe the daughter isn't as bad, but, like, the kids definitely get, like, the shittiness from their mom.
Yeah, the daughter is struggling with wanting to be, you know, popular and cool. She's in high school, it's expected, kinda. But, you know, you're just getting hints that, like, her choices are a little bit not like immoral or anything, but she's just like she's not making the best choices. She's making a little bit selfish choices.
Yeah, kind of.
Selfish choices, and the kid is selfish too. Okay? The boy is selfish, and Samantha's boyfriend, who is the lead bully, we find in this episode.
So, like, the boy who was beating up Miguel in the first episode is the boyfriend of Daniel's daughter.
Yeah, and he's a jerk. He comes over for dinner, for family dinner, and Daniel, one of the things about Daniel that we learn is that he likes to cook. Yeah,
like, he makes his kids breakfast every morning and lunch, and he makes dinner. Like, his wife is, like, it seems like his wife doesn't do anything, really, for them. And after the pool party, Daniel had been cleaning up the pool and everything.
He's like me. He's the guy that cleans the house and does all the chores.
But he was cleaning up the house, and he put all, like, the pool toys away. He picked up all the trash that was around the pool from the pool party. And then it goes... He, like, talks to his daughter. He, like, comes in when she was, like, video chatting with her, like, prissy friends and stuff, Moon and...
They all got those mouths that turn down, you know? Those, like, mean girl mouths that turn down. When they smile, it's like they're trying hard, you know, to make us smile.
Yeah. And, you know, just, like, by the way her friends talk, you can tell that they're just... I don't want to say it. You say it.
They're bitches?
Yeah.
They're bitches.
Yeah. And just watching scenes like that is just, like, cringy and just, ugh. Like, this, like, yeah, there was, like, in, like, the original Karate Kid movie, there was, like, prissy characters and stuff, because, like, it was, like, battling with, like, Daniel and, like, how he came from, like, the poorer side of life, and then, like, all of, like, the prissy rich people out of school and stuff. But, like, this takes it to a new level when it, like, involves his daughter and, like, these, like, mean, prissy girls that she wants to befriend.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, well, you should bring your boyfriend over for dinner. Like, I want to meet him, you know, like, your brother is going to be at a sleepover, so he's not going to be there.
Daniel's much more interested in kind of, like, controlling his daughter's social life. Like, the mom is like, let her do what she's going to do. Daniel's like, we got to know these kids that she's involved with, you know? Like, when he comes home and all the kids are at the pool,
he doesn't know any of them.
He doesn't know any of them. He flips out, you know? It's like, get the hell out of here.
Like, yeah, like, me being a teenager and stuff, and, like, when my parents, like, flip out at me about, like, friends and, like, whatever, it's like, yeah, kind of, like, you know, like, kids, like, it feels like the parents are being crazy, controlling and stuff. And, like, I get that. But then it's also kind of like, I wouldn't pull a stunt like that. And just anyone pulling a stunt like that, just, you know, it's not the best, I guess.
Yeah.
And...
yeah, you don't want to throw a big pool party without your parents knowing.
Yeah, especially if your parents don't know any of the kids and they're wearing your parents' clothing.
And they're just totally unaware that you're doing the party.
Yeah.
You know? Like in the 80s when I went to high school party stuff, the parents always knew, you know. Like, yeah, there was always like... there might have been some kids that threw big parties when their parents weren't around, but I never went to those. That wasn't my crowd. But if that even happened, or even if it's just myth. Because the parties that I went to, they were big parties, but the parents always knew, you know. You don't throw a party when you're...
Jake Ryan.
You don't want to throw a party when your parents are oblivious to it. My parents wouldn't even let me have a party like that ever, you know. But some parents were like party parents. Get all the booze and set you up. Their idea was, let's let them party here because, you know, they could be partying somewhere else. At least it's here. You know, that's
yeah. That's kind of what Trent did, because he's like, you know, if you're gonna drink or smoke weed, you might as well do it at our house just to make sure you're safe.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, it kind of, like, yeah, Daniel doesn't need to, like, be stepped in as much as he is. He doesn't need to, like, be as controlling as, like, it would seem. But then it's also, like, he is a really caring and kind father, and I really like that aspect about him. And then his wife is just like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, that kind of bugs me, because she is, like, one of those prissy girls. And then her kids are growing up to be like that, because they see that from her. And then he's, like, cleaning up the pool, and he's making dinner for everyone, and breakfast for everyone, and lunch for everyone all the time. And then, like, you see... And then, like, when her boyfriend comes over, he picks up sushi, or fish. What did he pick up?
He picked up some, like, special slice of tuna.
Yeah.
And he was making sashimi with this special knife. He talked about the knife and everything.
Yeah, and he was like, I got this knife for my first trip to Okinawa. Hey, second Karate Kid movie. And so, like, it's really cool to see that. And then he, like, hands the boyfriend the plate. And he's like, oh, no thank you, I don't like sushi. And it's just like...
Yeah, I don't like fish. But then the daughter's like, well, you know, you like fish sticks? And he's like, yeah, fish sticks are cool. You got any of those?
Yeah, and
like,
it's like, no.
He just ruined it. Like, Daniel had put all this effort into making this really nice sashimi. And this kid's like, no, it's just gross, I don't want it.
Yeah. It's just...
And Daniel, even though he is a little bit turned off by that, he's also, like, tries to make the kid feel, like, not a big deal. Yeah, I never liked sushi either until I, you know, met my friend, you know.
And hey, Mr. Miyagi. You know, and he's just, like, he's trying to be friends with this kid. Like,
yeah.
He finds out that, Johnny had beat him up in the first episode.
Yeah, the kid's got a little bit of a black eye left, and his knuckles are swollen, so Daniel's asking him about it.
And then when he finds out what happened and who beat him up, he goes to the strip mall where the Cobra Kai dojo is, and he confronts Johnny about it. And he finds out that McGill is, like, his protege, and, you know, things kind of are, like, going down at this point.
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
come face to face on the mat, and they even, like, Johnny's got the mat set up like tournament style.
Yeah.
With tournament style, you know.
The red mats and stuff.
Yeah, the red mats with the black squares and stuff. And he's standing on one side of the square, and at one point, like, he tells Daniel, maybe you don't know so much about, like, your family, maybe you better get your house in order. And Daniel gets mad and he, like, steps up, but he steps up right to the other end of that square like they're gonna, like a tournament, you know. Yeah. And then, So,
but then he decides not to fight him, so he's like, another time, another place, and he leaves.
Yeah, and then he does his floppy wrist move as he goes through the door.
Yeah.
Classic Daniel. Not very manly.
You're not very manly either. Like I said earlier in this series, that you know your Playboy bunny tattoo.
Hey! I was young.
Hey, he was young too.
Yeah, but he's not young now.
He's very flamboyant, and I love it about him.
So we have a setup. Now Daniel's basically confronted him, and he's like calling bullshit on this Cobra Kai thing. He's like, what is this? This is garbage, you know? Yeah, we've got a situation where we kind of got enemies again.
Yeah.
And go, but I think, that's all we've got time for tonight. We're going to do episode 3 next time. It's 8:30 and Sheen gets off at 9. We won't have time to do a third episode because they're about a half hour long without our 40-minute talk.
About 40 minutes.
So we'll do episode 3 and 4 maybe next time.
When is next time? Because it took us like 2 weeks to do this one.
Yeah, we got to make that quicker.